player, you get that monstrosity going. You can't kill that guy. He becomes hexproof, he becomes indestructible, and just a nightmare.
Okay, so that's Mike Abraham there on your left with the green-white aggro featuring Fleecemane Lion. Caleb Durward, he's all over the place, and he hasn't shaved that beard since,
Caleb's
forever.
He's a mountain man. I think he lives in the wilderness around here, and he comes out for Magic tournaments. That's what he told me, I think. But he's playing, it looks like a Jund deck. And Jund is something I always hope would be just dead and deceased and buried along with all the other Jund cards that came, and Huntmaster and Olivia, but it looks like he's trying to pull it off anyway. Yeah, but luckily his Jund list is nothing like the Jund of old. It's about early drops here when we have Gyre Sages, and we have things to level Gyre Sages and Scavenging Ooze and Lawless Troll. We have the World Eater here. You want to take a crack at the first... Pelucranos, the World Eater. And you know what? Don't tell anybody, but I teach World History 1, which is Ancient Greek history, so I should be able to pronounce these words, but I can't, so I'm going to do my best. So, why don't they just make like a Zeus card and things I can pronounce, like, or Herodotus or Hippocrates? Why do we have to have these random fringe Greek legends and gods? Come on now.
Well, there's the enemy Fleecemane Lion for you, Shaheen.
Oh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies just looking at it. I don't like it. And here it is. That monstrosity, 5 mana for 1 monstrosity, it's awful, right? Yeah, please, no one play this card.
Caleb deals with it immediately with Abrupt Decay. Caleb Durward here on your right has victories in StarCityGames.com Opens in a Standard Open last year in St. Louis. He won with Naya Pod back when that was in Standard. And he also has a victory in a Legacy Open from last December in Cincinnati with his blue-black Tezzeret deck, which he's pretty well known for. Yeah. And he's got a slew of top 8s.
Yeah, he actually top 8'd the first invitation that I top 8'd as well. And we battled, and then I narrowly defeated him. That's when my Stoneblade deck had all the parishes in the world, so... Caleb's known for playing green guys. He's played Elves in Legacy for a while. He was playing Threshold in Legacy before that. Playing Nimble Mongoose and whatnot. All right, so we have Dreadmangler. That guy's pretty good too. Good thing that guy is still around for the red-green or the black-green-red decks, because he's everything you want in a creature. Hasted, 3/3 for 3, so his equal power to toughness or the mana cost ratio. Scavenges, does a lot of good stuff here.
So we're off to the races here. Caleb Durward swings with his Dreadmangler, and Mike Abraham counters with a Flash Boonsatyr and strikes back for 4.
That card is pretty good too. There's a lot of good cards in Theros, I've noticed. I am very pleased with it on the aggro side and control side. You never want one to be better than the other, because then you have unfun Magic. If everyone's playing control, you got to have a lot of junky cards in your deck, and it's not real fun. If everyone's playing aggro, then control's unplayable. I like this good mix that we have going here.
I'm okay with unfun Magic as long as it's not fun for my opponent. That's why I played the mono red deck at States last week. It was, some games I had a hand where it was just, I know I'm going to win because I go turn 2, Burning Tree Emissary ×2 plus something else like a Fire Fist Striker.
So you have fun doing something like that, right?
I had fun.
Yeah, see, it's borderline illegal, I think. So I think.
So we've got a token here. I'm presuming that's a Knight token from a Selesnya Charm.
It looks like it.
Who is that? What basketball player is that?
Don't ask me. If right now, I'm sure Patrick Sullivan's at home just upset with me right now that I can't name that basketball player. If you ask me about the NFL, I got you all day long.
So if we could get the spotter to tell us what player that is, and if it is a Knight token, it should have Vigilance.
Alright, so we got Caleb here, Dragon. I actually bought 4 of these dragons.
Sunbreath Dragon.
Because at $20 a piece, because I knew that this card would go up. It already has. It's almost 30 now, or is 30. The card is absurd.
Centaur.
It's as good as Thundermaw Hellkite, if not better in this format, because of the protection from white. And we're about to see how Mike just can't even get through that right now.
The Centaur from Call to the Conclave.
Yeah, there's a good amount of 3/3s for 3 now, or 3/3s for 2 now. We got that and the Fleecemane line. It's pretty good green-white 2-drop there. The tricky part is balancing that with Voice of Resurgence 2 and Scavenging Ooze. He's only playing 1 Scavenging Ooze, and there it is, because he just can't play, 75 2-drops here. So he's definitely shaved a lot of the really good ones off.
And Scavenging Ooze is very bad in multiples.
It is bad in multiples, right? Yeah. So Caleb here looks like he's got defense by Dragon, and Rampage defense. He is out of cards in his hand though, and Mike is just full of cards. I found it interesting that Mike waited till then to remove it with the ooze there, the scavenge card. I think it's he could have actually maybe held off and scavenged maybe a Dragon monstrous without it being monstrous. All right, another hasted 3/3 man here. Dread Mangle is going to mangle.
Hasted but not attacking. Caleb opting to play conservatively here with his life total so low.
And with no cards in hand, it's really looking rough for Caleb. Even though his board is just stacked with monsters, Mike's got some cards in his hand, so we'll see. Let's see his side or his deck real quick. He has 3 Silesian Charm, but Silesian Charm does not hit the dragon, but he could hit that 4/4, maybe push enough damage through eventually. All right, let's see. We got the ooze is now 6/6. It really depends on what's in Mike's hand. I can't see. He's got Dry Militant. He's got another Flash 4/2 fella. And I can't see the third card.
Mike Abraham has to think about attacking sooner or later because the Storm Breath Dragon is such a big threat later on.
Yeah.
Caleb, I believe, is 1 land away from being able to monsterify it.
But do you know what he could have done here, though? He could have just played those 3 creatures in his hand and then waited 1 turn and then killed Caleb. Because Caleb would be forced to draw a creature off the top or just die. So I don't think I'd attack here, but and now he can just double block and do things. If he waits, then if Mike waits, he will have 6 creatures out. So you play 2 this turn. He'd have 5 creatures out, and then Caleb wouldn't be able to do some advantageous double blocking here.
Yeah, but I think it's correct to attack here and try to force that Stormbreath Dragon into combat before it goes monstrous.
Right, not with that 3/3 though. That 3/3 he's just throwing away here.
Well, he could be representing a Selesnya Charm here.
Yeah, but the problem is with Caleb with no cards in his hand, he has to fall for every bluff. You can't just... You have to block optimally here.
Well, he's got Boon Satyr.
Oh,
but
nice.
Not enough mana
yeah, he needs a 5th land for that, yeah. You got me scared from him. I'm like, I don't think you do that. Oh, 5th land.
Yeah, cannot bestow it.
So
It costs 5 to bestow.
He basically got a 2 for 1 there.
Without the ability to pump and trade with that Stormbreath Dragon or take it down.
He lost everything there.
I don't think that was a good attack either.
Yes.
I understand needing to put Caleb under pressure, but now you've just thrown away your guys and you're going to be under pressure here, Mike.
Yeah. If he waited one, like I said, if he waited 1 turn, he'd have 5 attackers to 3. If Caleb whiffs here, oh wow, that's not a whiff. That is the best possible card.
And it turns around just like that with Mizium Mortars overloaded.
Did Caleb Demonic Tutor there? Or did he?
But it could have been anything. Like a 7th land gets him a 7/7 flyer.
True, but man, I mean
that was probably one of the best cards.
I'm thinking, the way I think about it is, if Mike didn't attack and had that assembly of creatures out, that would have been a devastating mortar to him, but he would have had a huge Scavenging Ooze there. That ooze would have been...
The Scavenging Ooze would have survived the Mizium Mortars.
And then he could have eaten 6 things or 5 things, and it would have been a 11/11.
And then just hold the mana up. You could even... Now that he has 5, now he can flash Bestow, but has no creatures left to do so with.
Yeah. Caleb's got to be careful here, because if he doesn't draw... He didn't draw anything here, so he's going to play this land. If he shocks himself here and then activates Monstrosity, he's going to lose the game to that Flash Bestow creature.
Yeah, and I mean, got to watch out for Advent of the Worm as well.
Yeah, you can't do this here. And I think Caleb's thinking about it. If he does, he can shock himself. He has to hold back the Dread Mangler. All right, so he's going to do that. If he sends the Dread Mangler, then this game is over.
So, Monstrosity?
Yep, that's a fine play, I think. And
deal some damage.
He's got to hold back Dread Mangler. There we go. Yeah, he's going to... And how quick is this game turned around? He's saying, oh yeah, you take 1 damage for the card in your hand. The Monstrosity on the Dragon is definitely weaker than the ability itself is weak. Obviously 3 counters is not weak.
So Caleb correctly holds back the Dread Mangler.
Alright, he has outs here. He can draw a Johnny and kill him. He has a Johnny, Caller of the Pride in his deck. He draws Celestial Charm. Will kill. Oh! The trample? No, I thought it was trample from it. It scared me from it.
He's just showing him another one.
Oh. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I thought he had something there too.
I was like, that card have trample too? Did we miss that? No trample. Okay, so
Caleb Durward takes down the first game.
Yeah.
And that game turned completely there on that Mizium Mortars, wiping out Mike's team. But more importantly, before the Mizium Mortars, Mike committed to an attack when he didn't really quite have the resources to push things through completely.
No, and I know I've learned this in the aggro mirror, watching a lot of games, is that if you have 4 cards in your hand or 3 cards and your opponent has none, you have even board state, just play it at all your guys out and then wait 1 turn, because then you're just going to be able to overload them. Because even if you lose a couple guys in the attack, at least they're not double blocking your ooze and only losing 1 creature, and then single blocking your 3/3 with a 4/4. You're not getting blown out in blocks, and you're getting a lot of damage through. So it's important in these matchups to plan ahead a turn or 2. What can I do next turn and then the turn after? Instead of saying, well, I'm getting nervous here. I want to kill my opponent. Now he's at 6. So let's get some damage in. You got to really plan out your attacks here.
Yeah, I think what happened there was Mike didn't draw his 5th land, and he got a little bit hasty there. Maybe frustrated with not drawing the land and decided to just push the action and see what would happen. If he had waited, he could have held on to that Boon Satyr for end of turn after the Mizium Mortars and got some more threats back out. His Scavenging Ooze as a 6/6 would have survived.
Yeah, and it would have been a lot bigger after those mortars too. So let's see, Mike will hit the board, and in the sideboard he has 9 forests, 7 plains, 3s. No, God, he has in the wrong. I was looking at the wrong spot. I was like, those just lands in the sideboard. I thought we had a joke sideboard. All right, here it's at the bottom here. Glare of Heresy. That card is real. At first, I was like, not a big fan, but the application of that card is impressive because not only does it hurt control decks with Detention Spheres, it also is vindicated against the mirror match. It hits all kinds of problem white creatures, so I think it's really sweet. Unflinching Courage, probably the best card against your son there, the mono red deck.
And in this matchup, it's not bad.
Not too bad either. I think he has a few spot shows like Dreadbore, where he's kind of get blown out by, and Abrupt Decay. But besides that, it's pretty good. He's got Celestial Flare. He's got Up-Pithing Needle. He's got Tristani. I'm a big fan of Tristani in the aggro matchup. Lots of life gain attached to that. He's got a Sundering Growth and an Archangel of Thune, 1/of. So we're going to see him bring in all the things that are decent against the mid-rangey aggro deck of Jund over here. When we're looking at answers to Stormbreath Dragon, he really doesn't have many.
Is there an ideal answer to Stormbreath Dragon? It's a 4/4 flyer.
No, I don't think he has anything.
Are you going to bring in that deal a billion damage to a flying creature?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have much. Hunt the Hunter.
Oh, Hunt the Hunter is the 1 green, your green creature fights their green creature. I think you put yours gets +2/+2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a dragon is quite red, so that's not going to work out too well. He has Celestial Flare, so there it is on the screen here. So Celestial Flare, do you have to bring it in here? I think you do. I think you need some hope and prayer against that dragon, right? Even though it's not very great against this deck, it's still necessary, I think. I think you can't leave yourself outless against it.
So yeah, it's a fine tempo play, just in general, but I don't know. I think Mike doesn't have to make too many changes to his deck. I think he has to make some changes to his mindset here in this matchup and be a lot more patient and try to get some value out of his cards. You know, get some value out of your Boon Satyr, bestowing it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's look at the sideboard of Caleb here. He's got another Abrupt Decay. That's probably going to come in here. He's got Mistcutter Hydras. We've been seeing that all over the place now. That's a sweet card. Lifebane Zombie, which is obviously going to come in against this deck. Lifebane Zombie's dream matchup, green and white creatures. We have the Bow. There's a bow in the sideboard.
Bow of Nylea.
Lots of abilities.
The
on
bow
the bow
of too many abilities.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the cryptic command of the legendary enchantments here.
I saw the bow, and it was a green card with lots of words on it, so I just skipped over it. So I just don't want to read that. So we have
well, then you're going to lose to it someday, not reading the card. Like, it does that too?
I'm sure it doesn't do anything important. I think something about Death Touch, right? Death Touch, life gain, killing a flyer.
And for Death Touch to matter, you would have to commit to the combat phase.
I'd actually
have to have creatures.
I'd have to engage in battle, which I don't do. So that's not really relevant. If we can get on the screen, I'm kind of curious here. Here it is. Oh, he read my mind. So we have, yep, I was right. Life gain, deal damage to flyer. See, I know this card. +1 counter on target creature. That's probably the most relevant one, I guess. The one that's applicable all the time. And then the last one is put 4 cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library in any order.
That's a good ability there, huh?
Yeah, I mean...
So really it's got 3 abilities.
3 abilities, yeah. Actually, if this is a blue card, that'd be pretty sweet against Jace Memory Depth. You're not milling me, sir. I will get my cards right back. So Caleb's going to 6 here. I don't think he's worried. I think in this matchup, I think Caleb's a little bit of a favorite just because he has equally potent creatures, and Stormbreath Dragon, which is a nightmare for green-white.
Mike Abraham turning his chair around. Are you allowed to do that, Shaheen, in the feature match area?
As a rule aficionado, I'm going to say no because I find it to be too casual, so I don't like it.
Too casual. So you're also against his backwards baseball cap?
I am against that, and the long hair. You know what's funny? After years of teaching, students in my school are not allowed to wear hats. So I find myself walking in this feature match area or walking around here or just even in a restaurant, and I want to tell someone to take their hat off because I'm so used to saying that. So I actually walk by people, I'm like, take your hat off. Because I have to yell for 7 years in a row of kids taking their hats off. So again, another example of my senioritis or my senility coming in.
Well, they could just be sleeping under the brim of that hat, right? Is that the primary reason?
I think the reason is more of a respect thing, you know? It's more of like, Caleb's going to 5 here, not so good. So Caleb here in my school would, the beard would be intimidating enough. He doesn't even have to go with that.
What grades do you teach?
Seniors now.
Okay.
I used to teach freshmen though.
What high school senior is going to have a beard like Caleb Durward's? I asked you
You would
that.
be surprised. These kids nowadays.
Kids or people being held back a few
Yeah.
grades?
They're 22, 23 years old. You know, teaching a rough school.
All right, Caleb Durward off the mulligan to 5. Mike Abraham, the ideal 1-drop. Now there's so many 2-power 1-drops. Experiment 1, technically not 2-power, but as we see here, it's going to attack for 2.
Definitely better than the 2-power 1-drops in my opinion in this deck because there's just so many. You have Voice of Resurgence and Scavengers, but then you have 3/3s for 2. So that experimental one will be a 3/3 pretty quick. And Caleb knows. And here comes the mortars to dispatch it.
Force to Mizium Mortars, the experiment one, before it gets enough counters to regenerate.
Right.
Which is relevant. Even though you shrink it back down, it's still there and can keep regrowing.
Yeah. Alright, so in comes Voice of Resurgence for 2 damage. Now this card is good, and I thought it was going to be a lot better. I think the format will find it to be better later on. But it's a card that was a powerhouse in the last standard. And let's see how it does in this standard. So here comes 4/2 guy. Oh, a Johnny. Mr. Chapin and I got an argument over the power of a Johnny, Call of the Pride. I thought it was the best Planeswalker in M14 besides Jace. And he says Pyromancer is, but I think this Planeswalker is super underrated. It's just so scary. It's definitely the best 3-mana Planeswalker in Standard right now, that's for sure.
That's because Liliana of the Veil rotated.
That's true. Anger of the Gods. Caleb Durward with another awesome card against green-white here. On a mold of 5 too. But let's see this is Johnny. Johnny is going to get carried away because it's just impossible to kill without a Dread Warrior. Obviously, it's impossible to kill by damage. It's just so high in loyalty, and it also makes your army just so big. And then you can't ever leave your guard down because that flying double strike will take you out in a heartbeat.
So we saw Caleb cast Anger of the Gods, sweeping away Mike's creatures, including the Voice of Resurgence. Anger exiles them, so no trigger there for the token. And all he has right now is a follow-up as a Gyre Sage.
Yeah, even if that Anger of the Gods did 2/1 in there, that Johnny just makes all of his creatures so good. So let's see what you do. We have another Johnny activation.
Another +1 counter.
Good putting it on Experimental 1 because the regeneration ability, so it's obviously better on that. I like this play.
Trades the Gyre Sage for the Dryad Militant.
Saying go. I wonder what you have, Mr. 3-mana, no more land, saying go. And we're going to concede. Alright, so a mold of 5 here, obviously not giving Caleb really a fighting chance. And a Johnny, Call of the Pride. One of the best Planeswalkers, I think, right now. And it's obviously a white 1 and it has to go inside creature decks, so it's very, very narrow in its application. But in those decks, it's phenomenal. Like putting counters on Mutavaults with stick on there for life, being able to put them on creatures like Experimental 1, or anything. It doesn't even matter. It just makes all your guys that much better. Remember how good Gavany Township was, and this is on a Planeswalker that has obviously more abilities than just that +1/+1 counter, so it's very good. I don't want to play against it.
Is it better than the original Johnny Goldmane?
I think so.
Wow.
I think in the Johnny Goldmane, which was very good in the black-white token deck in Standard, I think that's even more narrow of its application. But it was, I mean, Johnny Goldmane was real good in that deck.
Better than a Johnny Vengeant? Is it the best of Johnny?
No.
Second best.
Let's be real here. That card, Armageddon's, how one-sided Armageddon here. That card is just absurd. Man, think about how good Blue White Red would be with that card around. Pretty darn good.
Did he just lick his card?
Yeah, he's tasting his cards. Tasting his green-white cards.
Mike Abraham evens this matchup 1-1 after turning his chair around. He turns the match around. So, what does he need to do to win this match? Levitate his chair?
Maybe turning it to the side now to kind of give it to. He needs. I think whenever you turn your chair, or whenever you flip your hat backwards, or lick your magic cards, there's definitely a definite luck of the Irish thing going with it. Green sleeves, maybe that too. Pretty luck oriented.
So Adrian Sullivan is in the house here. He just tweeted that he's 2-0 now. You can follow along the action with the hashtag SCGMKE. Looks like Adrian will be tweeting all day. He's a fellow commentator. He's going to be in the booth with me and Joey Pasco in 2 weeks at the Invitational.
Yep.
Shaheen will be playing, and if he does not do well in the Invitational, he's going to look to spike another Jace the Mind Sculptor in Indianapolis now off of the Mythic Madness giveaway.
It is madness. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you my record in that actual Open after the Jace. I 0-2'd the Standard Open drop. So my total record in Standard was 0 wins and 5 losses with 1 game of victory. I had 1 game I took down.
But you won a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
I won a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Do you still have that? Do you play
yes.
with it?
It's in my binder because I play 3 Jaces. I don't know if you've noticed, but when I play Esper Stoneblade in the 4 invitationals I've done well in, the list does not change. It's the same thing. I add a card here and there, but it is the same thing from ancient days.
So we're here in Milwaukee. Shaheen, I only do well in invitationals and draft opens.
That's true. I would not put money against me in those things, but in a Pro Tour or PTQ or something like that, you can make pretty good money betting against me.
And I am alongside him, Ricky. I 2-1 my Swiss draft queues on Moto.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. Hey, it's a learning curve here. I haven't drafted in a while. I wish there were some more draft opportunities for me in the competitive world, but I've been focusing on Standard for you guys because, as you know, Mr. Cedric Phillips has made me a bi-weekly writer, so I want to keep you guys updated with what's good in Standard, what I want to play, and what I think should be done. If you guys have any suggestions, be sure to tweet at me at ShaheenMTG. All right, so we have Experimental 1 on turn 1. Caleb Durward, the Mountain Man, the Forest Dweller, the Lumberjack. I think that's a Lumberjack injury on his wrist. I think he was swinging a heavy axe. That's what happened.
Well, he's swinging a heavy troll here. Lotleth Troll can grow just like the Experiment 1, discarding creature cards.
Yeah, that's another very good Magic card in my opinion. Definitely a card where the more black-green's played, whenever you have a black-green deck, he will be there.
So what can he do for value here, discard? He can discard Dreg Manglers and then Dredge, it's not Dredge. What's that mechanic called?
Scavenge.
Scavenge.
Yes. Yeah, you know, I'm surprised he's not playing.
There he goes.
He's not playing any of the legendary guy. What's his name? The one that lets everything have
Varal's?
Scavenge? Yeah, Varal's. Yeah, isn't that guy good? I don't know.
Well, Lotleth Troll good enough here. He blocks the Experiment 1, discards a Gore Clan Rampager and a Pelucranos World Eater.
Another attack I'm confused about if I'm Mike. I don't think you can attack into that because if Caleb discards 2 creatures, which he did, you're not really gaining much advantage from that. You're getting rid of 1 extra card. However, the Lotleth Troll is ginormous.
And now Caleb has untapped.
Yeah, so it's
with
not
Regeneration mana.
Yeah.
Swinging for 4.
So he did bring in Celestial Flare, and I think there's a Rootbound Crag, or Rootbound Defenses, Rootborn Defenses beside it. So he left that in, which is interesting. It's good against Mizium Mortar, and it's obviously very good against Anger of the Gods.
And it's good with Advent of the Worm.
Right, yeah, or the Call, the 2-mana 1/2.
Call of the Conclave.
Call of the Conclave
so
as
you
well.
can make a 3/3 Centaur
Charm,
or a 5/5 Worm.
Yep, and if he ultimates a Johnny, it's pretty good with that too, right?
And if you ultimate a Johnny, you don't need to do anything else.
Well, you want to have two. You get two of those guys.
No, this Johnny makes the 2/2s.
Oh yeah, so you get an additional one. Oh yeah, that's the
Goldmane made the XX equal to the life total.
Ah.
But all those tokens aren't going to matter here because Caleb Durward has a Ratchet Bomb that presumably he'll leave on 0 as defense against those big tokens, right?
Yeah, it really, I think he will, because I don't think he's scared of Dryad Militant at this point.
No.
And this is an interesting attack.
Well,
And there you go. Oh,
the
Celestial Flare. We forgot
There you
about
go.
that.
You can use it to get rid of a blocking creature.
There we go. Turn this
Sacrifice, so regeneration not going to matter. That card maybe going to win Mike Abraham this game.
Yeah. So Caleb a little too comfortable behind his blocking creature here.
Is that going to force Caleb to start upping his Ratchet Bomb now?
I think he has to. He can't wait. And the funny thing is, Mike has another experimental one, but he's going to say go. He's going to Celestial Charm at a turn if he so chooses to put a token on the battlefield. If he played the experimental one, he would have just got 2 for 1 by that Ratchet Bomb.
So Mortars on the Boon Satyr, and then Ratchet Bomb at the ready to get rid of the Dryad Militant. And Mike Abraham thinking there, pausing for a moment it seems, perhaps telegraphing the Selesnya Charm.
So, yeah, I think you do it here because you're going to be left with nothing after he pops that Ratchet Bomb for 1 here. I think you want to keep the pressure on. Oh, and he has Rootbound Defenses. You definitely do it here then, because then you're going to set yourself up for an additional token plus an indestructible trick. Oh, and if he waits on the Ratchet Bomb, he can Rootbound Defenses, indestructible, gets another night, and keeps everything. Oh, that's a real good play here. So Caleb, not knowing that Mike has Rootbound Defenses, is going to get blown out here when he tries to pop that Ratchet Bomb. Oh, this is going to be a
Rootborn
nice...
Defense is doing good work.
Oh, here we go.
Since the Pro Tour in San Diego that Craig Wesco took down with a deck similar to this.
So Caleb's not going to bite, and now Mike can play another experimental one because he has a Rootbound Defenses, so it's not going to matter.
So he might even be baiting out the Ratchet Bomb.
Yeah, play that 1 drop, and then just he's going to do that. He's going to set this up. This is going to be a disaster for Caleb. Caleb has to know the jig is up now.
Yeah. But look at that body language there. Mike Abraham's trying to sell a reluctant experiment one.
Oh, there we go. So he's going to Rootbound Defenses. In response, he's going to pop Ratchet Bomb for 1. Or he doesn't have to respond. So he can do it during his next turn, but I wouldn't want to wait though. So yeah, that's a good play. All right, so we have
Caleb
2
went
nights.
for Anger of the Gods instead.
It's pretty good, yeah. So now Mike has got a few boys in play. Here they come. A few Reed Dukes, the Shining Knight. And now it's time to say Fleecemane Lion.
So now Caleb needs another sweeper here, another Anger of the Gods. Would be useful. Ratchet Bomb would be okay to clear out the tokens.
Yeah.
Believes that Fleecemane Lion 1 land away from becoming monstrous.
I think Caleb's dead.
Or
that's it.
extends the hand. Caleb Durward concedes to Mike Abraham's swarm of Reed Dukes.
Yeah. There's no better way to die, I guess. Being attacked by the Reed Duke. So these aggro decks are very, very different. And it's fun because I think that they're all decent in their own way. And I think Standard's very healthy right now. Usually when a set comes out, the first set that comes out,